Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's MISys Tips and Tricks video. In the past 2 weeks, we have covered our MRP module and the method to run. The first week we talked about running MRP in 1 step or 3 steps. And then in the second week, we talked about the different demand signals and how to make sure that these signals do not get duplicated. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about our lead time to customer. What can we promise to our customers when they place an order? And this is really based on our production method, whether we are doing a make to stock or make to order. And many times we see that our clients have a combination of these two, a hybrid, if you will. So the most important thing, again, is the lead time to customer. And as a secondary measure, we can look at how long does it take then to replenish our stocks, whether these are finished good stocks or raw material stocks or sub-assembly stocks. So with that in mind, we will take a look at a few slides here, and we'll start with the make to stock model. All of the stocks, all of the scenarios that we look are going to consider the same days. Finished good build time is 5 days. So once we start building a finished good item, we can build it in 5 days. The longest intermediary or sub-assembly build time is 10 days from all the sub-assemblies that it might require. And a purchase order lead time, meaning the longest lead time of any of our items, is 21 days. And your days might be way different than these. It doesn't really matter. Here we are just looking at the concept, and we're going to keep these 5, 10, and 21 days constant throughout the slides so we can compare and contrast accordingly. So in the first one, when we are doing make to stock, we can actually embed a MRP run frequency of 7 days. That's a weekly MRP run. That would allow us to have what we would call a frozen zone. That is our production schedule being set in place and not being touched for a 1 week, 2 week, whatever the length of frozen zone is for that time period. If we're running MRP on a weekly basis, that automatically actually will translate into a frozen zone of 1 week if we don't make any changes to that. So looking at the worst case scenario, if I was to run my MRP and do all my scheduling for everything on a Thursday night, and then Friday morning comes and a new order is received, that order will not be considered and planned for until I run my MRP again next Thursday night, which is a 7-day period. So let's take a look at that and what that would mean in different scenarios in terms of lead time to customer. If we are actually keeping a safety stock on everything, that means on finished goods, on intermediaries, and on the purchase order items as well, that would mean 0 days lead time to customer, because the moment the order comes, the sales clerk or whoever is in charge of fulfilling customer orders can see that the finished good is available in stock, and then they can ship it out. This still has not affected my frozen zone. It still has not affected any of the variables in the system. I was able to deliver the shipment on the same day to the client. Whether how long it takes on travel time, that's a different story. However, then we run MRP, and in the worst case scenario, like I said, it's going to take 7 days if this order came just after I had run it the last time. So let's assume the worst case scenario here, 7 days, we wait to run MRP again. And once we run it, it's going to notice that our stock has fallen below where it needs to be, probably our minimum stock levels that we are trying to keep. And that's where we're trying to meet our demand as a make to stock company. And it's going to try to replenish that by creating finished good manufacturing orders. And then because some of those sub-assemblies will be used, it's going to try to replenish that. And same thing for raw materials, but they will all start on the same day. So my finished good stock replenishment will be my frozen zone or my MRP run frequency if it is weekly. And in the worst case scenario, let's call that a 7-week and then my 5 days here for finished good build time. So within 12 days, in a worst case scenario, I'm able to replenish my finished good stock. For all the stocks to be replenished, then I need to look at that 7-day worst case scenario plus add the longest of these three: finished goods, subassembly, or purchase order. In this case, purchase order is 21 days. So 21 days plus the 7-day worst case scenario adds up to 28 days. I ship my order in the same day, and within 28 days, I was able to go ahead and replenish all my stock. Another scenario might be that I only keep finished good safety stock, and I don't keep safety stock on my intermediaries and my sub-assemblies or in my purchase orders. Keeping again this data constant, these variables constant here, we run our MRP. Again, in the worst case scenario, we take those 7 days. That again helps us with our frozen zone because we're not changing our production schedule for the next week. And then we're still able to ship it on the same day because we did have the finished good safety stock available. So we ship from our safety stock. And now we are able to actually do our purchase order, our sub-assembly, and our finished good once again. The reason this is looking backwards is because I don't have any stock of my raw materials or my intermediaries. I had my finished goods, I shipped them out. That's what I'm trying to replenish. But before I can replenish my finished good, I need to build my sub-assemblies or intermediaries. And to be able to build them, I actually need to buy them. So that's the way to go. And if we actually go back to that slide again, we can see that we are, even though we took 0 days, same day delivery to the client, now we're taking 43 days, both for the finished good replenishment and all stock replenishment, because they are daisy chained to one another. So this took a little longer to replenish our stock. Next option is to look at make to order model. And with the make to order model, we are looking at the same data once again. However, this time an order comes and we want to process it right away because we are going to have no stock of anything. It's no safety stock on any of the items. So immediately we process it. The items need to be purchased and they need to come in. Then we need to build the sub-assemblies, then the finished goods. So before we can ship it to client, 36 days is going to pass. They are end-to-end, again, daisy chained, and your overall lead time is the longest lead time of these, which are 5, 10, and 21. So that's quite a long time, and we need to make sure that we can actually stay competitive in the market with this lead time to customer if this is the method we are following. Whereas if we decide to keep some safety stock on the sub-assemblies and the POs, but we are still made to order, that means we don't really keep any finished good safety stock. But that doesn't mean we cannot keep safety stock on the sub-assemblies and the POs. We can still institute that frozen zone and be able to provide our clients with a 12-day lead time in this case, which is really the 7 days of frozen zone, a worst case scenario once again, and then the 5 days for the finished goods, because we have the sub-assemblies and we can just build items out of the sub-assemblies and then they are ready to go. That means our finished good lead time, cycle time of 5 days is added onto the 7-day frozen zone. And within 12 days, we ship out products. And then all of those other item types, purchase items and sub-assemblies will be triggered at the next MRP run. And they will be ordered because they have all fallen below their safety stock levels. And MRP will try to replenish those. And within 28 days, which is the longest time here for PO lead time, plus the frozen zone of 7 days, within 28 days, we're able to replenish our sub and PO stocks. The important thing here is to find the model that's right for you and identify the item groups which fall into any of these categories. And if there is a different combination of this, then you identify that so that we can determine our demand signals properly when we are running MISys MRP. I hope this helps you use MISys more effectively. And if you need any assistance, any more detail on this, feel free to contact us at Central Nervous Systems. We hope to see you next week with our fourth installment on the MRP series.